class, the next class flare, sun shining, all up and
Okay.
down.
Yeah,
All
good
that
for
solar
you.
flare, bro.
Yes,
And
sir.
and fasting too. So yeah, the combination
O-
of the two things. Probably
Okay.
probably next level in some things.
And well, now is certainly the time. Yay. I guess people will trickle in as they please. Um, but yeah, I mean, the purpose of this webinar is just to talk about what's to come in the Alchemy of Inner Empowerment, in the Alchemy of Inner Empowerment retreat in Costa Rica, December 13th to the 21st, which we are all excited about. I know some of you guys, I've already seen some of you guys solidify your spots. A couple of you guys must be here for some information. But yeah, Wayne, whenever you're feeling solid, you can go ahead and take over and start to talk about what you're gonna unleash at this training.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, for me is trying to get get people to like develop the understanding of where we are as a race on this planet at this time. Because, in general, we really don't have a measuring stick to reflect the importance of this time that we're in. We really have no connectivity to that. And so because of that, we don't really embrace the critical importance of where we are at this particular time, and more importantly, what we need to be doing and how we need to create and develop ourselves in a more holistic and empowering manner that transcends where we are now. So I'm going to start off with a very kind of unusual clip, but it's one aspect of where we are and what we can expect and what's coming around the corner. So I'm going to share my screen. I don't know why that is there. So listen to this carefully. This man is from the UK. He's a politician and has been approached by the WEF, Klaus Schwab, to develop his area into what I call 15-minute cities, which is one of the things that America is now facing. Like where I live has become a 15-minute city.
It's called C40 Cities. I would urge you to certainly look on the internet about it and then go to all of the TikTokers and see what they're really saying. Basically, you won't be able to drive a petrol or diesel car anymore. You'll have to buy electric. If you want food, you will get a calorie controlled system sent to you by text saying, this is what you can eat today. This is what you can have today. If you violate any of these things, they'll freeze your bank account. That is the next step. These are stages in which they're going to implement this stuff. And this was signed up by the WEF, and the WEF has signed up with our mayor in London as the chair. And he has gone around the world to communicate this C40 to all of the countries in the world. And most of the countries are looking at adopting it. Now, I am going to abolish it. It is a a hopeless position. We are going to be in an open prison, or shall we say a COVID, for the rest of our lives. We will not be able to work unless it's in our 15-minute city. It's diabolical. It's not a right. This is not the right thing. And it's been hidden from the public. No one's talking about it.
So this is just one of the things, and because of the research that I do, things that pop up that most people, it just goes over most people's heads. Like right now in America, they're having, you know, this a strike on the transport of goods coming in to the States. Now, I know back in February that the WEF aligned itself with 120 countries to create these food shortages in their respective countries worldwide. So while people are looking at this dock strike here as just something that, you know, is happening based on the desire for more wages, I see it as something totally different based on information that I have. So I know what they're pushing for. And I think that we have this particular aspect in front of us, but we also have another aspect that is integrating itself into our overall reality. So it's like two worlds that are coming together, one that's really crumbling before our eyes. But before that happens, there is a diabolical push to really, really get their agenda across, and as a last means of desperation, move humanity into this place where, you know, all of the planet becomes Slavelandia. And that's what we're looking at. And I'm not interested in operating and living in Slavelandia. You know, that's not what I want to do. It's not where I want to be. But in order to really achieve a level of really, I guess you would call it sovereignty in its most divine expression, we have to do work. And so that's one of the main reasons. That's my focus. Every time I do a retreat, it has a specific theme and focus. And that's what the theme and focus of this particular retreat is going to be. So I asked, the question that I have is, you know, where do you, you know, in the shifting and changing of this planetary tide, where do you realistically find yourself? And what do you feel you should be doing at this particular time? I mean, it's very clear to me that we can no longer do the things in the way that we've been doing them, the way we've been used to doing them. Because what lies ahead is a game changer on both levels, cosmologically with the downloads, and then nefariously with what these people are trying to implement. And one of the things, you know, I say to people, and I was speaking to Diallo, and I believe we talked about this earlier, and I said, whenever you have a man heading an organization that steps out and says to the entire planet, but specifically, definitely the Western Hemisphere and all those countries within the Western Hemisphere, is you will own nothing and be happy. And all of this is being implemented right now with the social credit scoring system, the universal basic income, CBDCs. I mean, all of these things have been put forth over the last 4 years by the Biden administration, and they're locked in and they're ready to go. Now, what you have to ask yourself is, what is in the spaces that need to be filled that's going to allow the launching of these various programs? Because those spaces have to be filled with something that is going to be very unsettling and chaotic in order to allow these other branches that have been created for the people in this country to embrace. So I look at all of those things, and what comes to my mind is that our quest now more than ever is the necessity for us to optimize, cultivate, and develop those internal aspects of our own inner being, our own inner selves, where, you know, we will allow a level of ultimate integration with the frequencies that are downloading to shift and repattern this entire reality that we're in right now. And so the world as we've experienced it, is simply a reflection of the people that we have been, the individuals that we have been, that we are in a time capsule where the timeline has shifted now. And now is our time to evolve from a three-dimensional, entrapped human entity back into our natural state of being fourth dimensional, to prepare us for this jump to light speed into 5D. And that's our journey. And the thing that I want to focus on with respect to the retreat is doing that. So one of the things I want to read, just to create some perspective. This is a translation from an ancient Mayan codex called the Dream Spell Codex. And it reads like this. It says, imposters, male priests and warriors usurp the power of the 13 moons, or the 13 months. They hid the 13 among themselves and attempted to banish all memory of the dream spell matrix of magic. Now, this is based on the fact that in antiquity, there were 13 months, not 12. There were 13. And each one of those 13 months had 28 perfect days. And what this did, and the way it was organized, was that it allowed human beings to live outside of the left hemisphere of their brain, or even more specifically, to have the ability to integrate those two hemispheres to create abundant realities for themselves. So with this new design coming in, created a totally different timeline for humanity. Says time was compressed into a flat circle. Instead of the 1320 ratio already stored deep within the crystal core of the earth, the human race received the 1260 ratio, the dark dream spell of history. And so the 13th moon or month was dismembered and added on as extra days to the calendar of 12. The absorption of the 13 by the 12 was called an improvement by the male imposter priest, hypnotized by the combined powers of Jupiter and Saturn. While the 12 diminished the power of 13 by 1, the 60 raised the power of 20 by 3. A seeming increase in power occurred, but it was a power only on the third plane of three-dimensional existence. With the banishment of the 13 moons, the human race was now entrapped in the three-dimensional field. With the banishment of the 13 moons, also the fourth dimensional time magic became the property of the priest class, setting up religions and governments to maintain humanities within the third dimension. The priests were assured, and this is very important, that anyone having fourth dimensional experiences either be appropriated or destroyed. So what we're looking at is the movement out of who and what we really are into this three-dimensional construct, a design that pales in comparison to what our original divinely designed should have been as we navigated this reality. So we come here not knowing who we are, what our purpose is, where we're going, and not really developing and having and carrying the understanding that we were created, in purpose, on purpose, for purpose, that we are necessary. We are entities that are very necessary for the constructural direction of a much higher developed frequency that we have to offer this planet and humanity. It's like we come here with a mission, but that mission is unknown to us. It's something in us that we bring to the table that only we have. Something that we bring to the table that only we can do. And it's our mission to uncover and discover what that is. And that's my love for Qigong, because Qigong is designed to create that. And I'm going to hit another tab and Listen to this carefully.
Every single cell in your body is at 0.07 millivolts of electricity, and you have 35 billion cells. Multiply that, you're at 2.65 or so trillion volts of electricity in your one body. You're a walking nuclear explosion. This is where the Qigong energy comes from. This is where Reiki healing energy comes from. It's extracted directly from the cells in your body. It's not mysticism and anger, man. So it's real. When you understand how to tap into the energy meridians in your body and extract the energy directly from the cells in your body and focus them, you're gonna have healing power.
That's Qigong right there. So the way the retreat is designed is to activate all of these abilities that we have. And those of you that have come on retreats before or have worked with me previously, we're looking at a totally different level of training that we're going to be under the influence of on this particular retreat. Another one of the areas that I definitely want to focus on, because I feel it's incredibly essential, is working with dynamics within our own consciousness, not just through the meditations that we'll be doing, but through other elements that are part of the various hemispheres of the brain. So one of those is called the reticular activating system. And that's going to be a major focus of the retreat. And what is that?
If you expect to achieve your goals, if you expect to reach your potential, if you expect to have your dreams come true, what I'm about to explain to you is mission critical. You must become a master at visualization. For those of you that are like, what the heck is she talking about? I did not sign up for some sort of meditation, woo-woo spiritual thing here. Don't worry. This is Mel Robbins. There's always science and research involved in everything that I talk about. So visualization is a extraordinarily powerful skill. You may have heard of the law of attraction. You may have heard of the word visualization. You may have heard of the word manifesting. I call it seeing signs. Your brain has a system in it. Here's the technical term. It's called the reticular activating system. It is a network of neurons all up in here. And what is the job of the reticular activating system? It is a filter system. It's basically a system that allows certain information in your brain, and it blocks out other information. And guess who programmed that filter? You did. And so did the people from your past. And so if you constantly feel like you're unlovable, guess what? Your reticular activating system is going through the day, and it is going to point out every single piece of evidence that confirms that negative belief that you have. If you think that people don't like you at work, the reticular activating system, the filter, it is literally going to be looking for evidence to confirm that belief all day long. This is one of the reasons why we have such a problem with politics in this country.
So the reticular activating system literally creates our reality. And based on how we think, what we bring into our life will determine how we navigate this reality. And so one of the things we're going to be doing, I signed up for a program called I Achieve back in the early spring. And I was really surprised because I knew about the reticular activating system, but I got to this one place within the program where that was the entire module. The entire module was based on how to go in and reformat and redesign our reticular activating system so that we pull in only those things which are most beneficial in the creating of the realities that we want and need to have for ourselves. And it's a series of techniques and practices that are life-changing because it gets into the very crux of the matter with respect to the ideas and patterns that we carry that need to be gone. And we don't really allow them to be gone because we look at them in various ways of crewing and allowing various means of feeling secure as how we operate and navigate our reality. But that security is a false security. That feeling of empowerment is a false feeling, sense of being empowered. So in shifting our belief system in the way it has been designed, because it not only deals with that which is obvious, but it goes in to the subconscious and helps to remove and repattern those old thoughts that we carry that create the reality that we bounce around in every single day. You know, so one of the things like with Qigong is like it's a multi-dimensional framework. It's a multi-dimensional science, you know, that takes a normal, inferior, just basic human being and turns them into a superior human being with superior attributes, abilities, and focal points in terms of how they can now change and shift the reality that they navigate on a daily basis. Qigong creates, yes, definitely a more evolved and refined sense of well-being, mentally, emotionally, physical health, definitely. And that's one of the things that is always sold with respect to Qigong is, oh yeah, come take Qigong. Qigong make you feel good, Qigong is much deeper than that because Qigong originates out of Tao. And Tao is the way. You say, well, what is the way? It's the way of the universe. So it's the way of everything. And that's what I attempt to bring to my retreats holistically is examining all aspects of the things that we need to function and more fully operate within the culture and the environment that we live in. Because this is a new day. I mean, we have stepped into a totally new day. And in order for us to navigate that with a level that allows us to execute our intentions and to manifest what those intentions are, I don't think there's anything better than Qigong to achieve and acquire that. I haven't seen it. You know, we have abilities, we have different energetic portals that are dormant within us. And Qigong opens, stimulates, and releases the power that those internal portals carry and hold. And that gives us an edge over 98% of humanity. And I'm probably by saying 98 because it's probably something like, 99 and a half, but, I'll say 98.
99.99999.
Yeah, exactly.
Bar.
So that's my focal point, on where we want to go, because this is endgame. And it's hard to translate that reality into the known of what we're looking at on a daily basis. You don't know how disruptive unless you really look and like what's his name? Like Newsom, Governor Newsom in California. He has completely decimated the entire state. I mean, Elon Musk calls it, like San Francisco, the zombie apocalypse. And he's moved all of his business, out of that area, because when you look at it, that's exactly what it looks like, a zombie apocalypse. But what blew me away was Newsom's latest decision to, and he made this law. He made this law day before yesterday in California, where you now do not have to show ID in order to vote, which means that you don't have to prove that you're even an American citizen to vote. And this is all based on all these illegals that they've been flying into the country for the last 4 years. I believe it's about somewhere between 15 and 21 million. And a lot of them are nestled in California. So we're working with a program that very few people really see. And to create the necessary means of being able to shift and move the energies that are afoot, we as individuals have to go to the next level. And that's just the bottom line. Unless you want to get absorbed, sucked in, and as a human being redefined in terms of what you are and how you need to operate and what your directional activities are going to be based on, a nefarious and somewhat misaligned culture that is trying to overtake the whole planet. So I'm open to any questions that anybody might have about how things are going to go and what other elements, aspects within the retreat will be taught or practiced, and I'll leave it on you. Does anybody have any questions? So I either did a great job or I either did a horrendous job.
I can question, Wayne.
Yeah.
We learned a number of exercises in the retreat that was
That we
in
did
the last
in Mexico. Yeah.
Yeah. So how will the exercises that you teach this time be different from the last time?
They're different, because the game is different. And so everything is going to be intensified, and we're going to be working different systems in terms of how we incorporate and infuse that energy into our body mind that we didn't work on when we were in Mexico. Mexico was an introduction. It was a design to give a base understanding, of what the practices can bring to one when done consistently. And that's the thing that is so fascinating about Qigong, is that if you're consistent with your practice, you get to places that are completely next level that you as an individual never saw yourself operating from. And you get there in a very accelerated period of time and space. And that's one of the things I really, really love about Qigong. If you stay on it and you develop a practice around it that's consistent, you transform yourself, not just change. You transform yourself into something other than.
Can I say something off the end of that, Wayne?
No, this is your show as well. Those of you who don't know Jamila is the co-producer of this retreat and has also been in the background, like just operating, organizing, and putting everything together. And she's bringing a lot to the table as well. Safira isn't here, which is kind of disappointing. She's the other sister who is part and parcel to making this whole thing work. And so, yes, Jamila, please.
I guess I
Because
just,
we're going to be learning from her.
yeah, we'll be doing some yoga, and if any more ladies join the retreat, I'll be teaching some of the female cultivation practices. But what I wanted to say is what you said, like this retreat is specifically designed for what we're facing right now. And I mean, we can all agree that, we've stepped into a new, which means uncertainty. And when you say like doing your practice regularly, the importance of that, the way I see it is, or the way I understand is, we are not only an instrument or like an antenna, but this body is your spaceship. And if you know how to hack the body and how to pull in, just higher states of consciousness, and to place that within this body, the outer reality reflects that. And that's why things change so fast. I mean, I go through periods where I do certain focus practices and things change very, very fast. You just, you're prepared for it because of course you're moving from a different level of consciousness, and your body, your nervous system is actually able to open up to these new ways of being without blocking. Like you might have this idea, but the nervous system is what's scared or, stuck in past previous patterns that stops you from achieving and doing and moving super, I guess, moving fast is my, I don't know, that's just what I'm seeing in my mind, but it
And effectively.
right, yeah. And so one thing that I learned is, through your breath is how you move through time, and you can speed up into a whole different, reality, or you can slow down and move back into, I guess, someone else's idea for you. So, I mean, I just wanted to say, like, for anyone who has done a retreat with him and who's wondering, like, okay, what makes this special? Well, just think about where you are at right now and how you can cultivate certain energy to propel you towards whatever idea you have in regards to like your purpose, or even just to just strengthen that connection to know when to move left and when to move right, and when to stand still, and when to move to the, it's just, I think that that's the most important thing, because everywhere we look, there's something new being thrown at us. Our phones are, all this tech is also attacking us. And if you don't, set yourself up for success, then unfortunately, yeah, you fall behind with the rest of the herd. And I know I don't want to be that girl. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, that's on point. All of that is definitely on point. You know. Any other questions, comments?
So brother Wayne, good seeing you, bro. It's been a while.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing well. Yeah. So as you probably remember, we I did the retreat with you back in 2019.
Jamaica.
Definitely was very powerful in Jamaica. I've been doing the practices ever since. Actually, the practices helped me to really handle my mother's transition back in December of last year. So when she passed, just doing those practices, man, really helped me to get over that situation. And yeah, so definitely kudos to you, bro. And so just wondering, so what I've primarily been doing, as you may not recall, is the kidney packing and
Yeah,
the 6 sounds.
yeah.
So are you gonna be adding to
Oh,
those?
yeah, man. All of that, we're shifting. All of that is going to be totally changed. We're going to be doing different practices, um, which bring those particular aspects into play, but they come in a totally different um, frequency. And that frequency is way more intense, which creates and transfers a different level of self-empowerment, to how it goes in, sits in the body, and can be utilized by the individual through intention. Totally different. Yeah, it's going to be next level stuff. Totally next level.
Yeah, well, I can definitely, man, give a testimonial regarding the kidney packing, because I think I told you what I discovered was that actually after I exercise, primarily doing squats, and then I do the kidney packing. Oh boy, it's extremely powerful, bro. Because what I experienced in Jamaica in 2019, I could not duplicate that once I got home. But I recognized that after I exercised, primarily after I did squats, and then I did the kidney pack, and man, the energy was yeah, it was somewhat scary. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And that's really on point, because one of the things, I mean, many of you know that I do a form of alternative internal or energy medicine. And one of the things that we've discovered is that whenever you are active, that your energy field expands. And so that would make a lot of sense that doing something that's physical before you do your internal, when you step into your internal, it's going to be way more substantial in terms of the frequencies and the energy that you're generating. So that's why one of the things we're going to have movement, and we're going to have yoga, solid yoga classes every day.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I got a few questions. So I've been training with Wayne for about a year, so that's my dude for Qigong. But I did have a question about just the overall experience for this retreat. So you do have Jamila, I hope I'm saying that right, and then the other young lady. And so is there like an itinerary to the overall retreat? That's number one, and then number two would be, is there any way to prepare for the retreat? Is there like a specific practices that we should be doing ahead of time before going to one, or even from like a nutritional aspect that we would want to kind of align ourselves with?
All of the above. I mean, because you wanna step in to the energy already like refined and cultivated, so that just like as I was talking about the jump from 3D to 4D, from 4D to 5D, when you step in and you're already prepared, then the movement into that next level is going to be so much easier and more fluid, and it's going to be timely. It's going to be accelerated. And yeah, we have an outline of how every day is going to go, what practices are going to be done, how all of that is going to unfold.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I was more or less wondering like like, oh, 8 o'clock, yeah, this is when we wake up, then we go
Yeah,
into like
yeah, all of
like
that.
that yeah, okay.
We're gonna have all of that. Yep, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, you all will be waking up at 8 o'clock.
So like in the morning, of course, we'll have like breakfast and, dinner, try to keep it light. But every morning is yoga. Most of the day is training. To be honest, that's what it's going to be like. We may have 1 or 2 days where we get to have like a beach day, but it's mostly just training and just refining the practices and just having the time to flow through them. The time goes by fast, so if you're thinking like, wow, training for most of the day is a lot, but it goes by fast because, I mean, Qigong, you slow down, right? So when you're slowed down and you're in meditation and you're tuning into energy, like time speeds up. But we will release something a little bit more specific. I know that you've already claimed your spot. I will release something to those who've already signed up to, just give them a little bit more of an idea of what that looks like. I think that's a good question. In terms of preparing for the retreat, as Wayne said, definitely whatever practice you're currently doing, I would say the 30 days before to make sure you're doing them consistently. And just, yeah, I think that you'll have a lot of clarity as to what you're going to want to use this energy for. I think that's important. Don't come into the retreat kind of, like in a chaotic state, because you don't want to use the energy to just arrange that. Do you know what I mean? You want to use that. You want to use this opportunity to really propel you into the like new identity or this new state that you're creating for yourself that will be once you've left the retreat and you've gone back, home into your routine, even though things are going to change, because you won't be the same. So you want to know what you're going to use that energy towards. I think that's just what I've been telling the people that I've spoken to who've already claimed their spots. And then, yeah, like eat clean. Like, of course, don't do all the junk food and the whatnot, the heavy stuff. Just come prepared to be flexible and ready to download.
Okay, yeah, thank you to the both of you. And then I think you guys have a question in the chat from Xavier.
Let me see. So Xavier says, will you also be helping with developing visualization training?
Yeah, yeah, I gave him the thumbs up on that, yeah.
Yeah, that's the reticular activating system.
Right, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I know there's a couple people who have not signed up. I am gonna just drop the link in the chat. So if you're interested, it's, you know, pretty straightforward what to do. If you have any questions, I'm also gonna drop my email in the chat as well. And yeah, you could just reach out to me directly and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Hey, can you hear me, Jamal? Wayne?
Yes, I hear you.
Yes.
Hey, first, I just want to say gratitude to both of you for putting this retreat together. You know, this will be my first one and first time meeting both of you, so I'm very,
Yeah.
very much thankful. Very much thankful. I've been working with Wayne since, what, 2019?
Was it 2019 or before?
I
Because we
believe
started
it's
working
20.
in Germany.
Yes, yes, yes.
It was, yeah,
That was 29. I think it was early 2019.
yeah, okay. It might have
Uh-huh.
been early 20, yeah, it feels like it was even like maybe 2018. And I know it was before we entered the age of COVID.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I went to a yoga retreat with your sir in January of 2019. I think he connected us. And we started. I think it was around April or May.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was the beginning
So
of
it's been right, right. So it's been a long time coming. So I'm excited, ready. You know, and definitely going to be prepared. Going to come there. You know, ready to go. So yeah, excited. Um, I just wanted to ask, like, you know, I did see the flyer. I know that the retreats in Costa Rica, which, you know, looks to be a very beautiful setting for what we're going to be doing. What was the reason for picking this location, and how would that help with enhancing the practice and, you know, taking us to the next level?
Yeah, for me, just looking for areas that have strong vortexes of
Hmm.
energy, because one of the things we're going to be doing on the retreat is connecting. You want to think of your meridians, as ley lines or grids.
Hmm.
And your grid lines actually integrate with the grid lines or ley lines, as they refer to them, of the planet. So one
Right.
of the practices that we're going to be doing is actually integrating our own grid lines or meridians with the grid lines or ley lines of the planet, because right now there's a massive shift that's taken place with respect to the grid lines of the earth. And that shift is supposed to be realized by the end of this year. So when we step into the end of December, the grid lines of the earth, which have been somewhat dormant for quite some time, the individual I've been working with on that, he's been monitoring the Earth's grid lines for the last 10 years. And what he has uncovered or discovered is that every couple of years, these major grid lines on the planet absorb more and more energy and become more definitively active. And he says that by the end of this year, all the major grid lines on the planet will become activated. And for those who have their own internal grid lines active and functional are going to be able to like really take advantage of this profound influx of energy coming now out of the earth. And that's one of the things we're also going to be working on with respect to the retreat, because that's another one of the main reasons and purposes that I want to do this retreat at this particular time and in that particular area, because of the vortex that operates in that particular area of Costa Rica.
Understood. Yeah, you answered my second question by providing that information. So, yeah.
Any other questions? We good?
One thing that comes to my mind, Wayne, is the pole shift. So I guess the grid lines and all of that, that's all part of just this reset, I suppose, this shift reset. Or is the reset having to do with, the nefarious ones, or is it the pole shift? Like, what is what? What?
That's a great question. There's a guy, David Morgan, and he's in the metals arena. He's really heavy into silver, into gold. I'm sure he's also exploring other avenues of investment. But one of the things that he said in an interview, he said there are going to be two resets. He said the first reset is made by man, and we're undergoing that, experiencing that now. The second reset will be nature and will be created from the natural world. And so that's where I believe a lot, and that's where, we're going to need to be something other than, what we're carrying and working with right now, because the whole dynamic of Qigong is how do you integrate with the shifting and the coming of new frequencies onto the planet. And at this particular time, man, that's a game changer, because there's no way I can communicate how important this particular time is that we're in, because of where we're getting ready to launch ourselves into with respect to frequency and dimensional transition.
Cool. All right. Well,
So yeah,
So Wayne, I got a question for you. I'm gonna try to frame this the best I can. Like, I hope I
well,
know like the
what's
work
deep
that
with
we.
you, what is a deep experience with you was, when you did the ayahuasca after you had been doing the
Mm,
qigong, and you went on
yeah,
that retreat, and everybody
yeah,
else freaking out and getting sick, and you were like in meditation the whole time and just flowing with the energy, because
indeed,
your channels were already open. People that move into those spaces don't have their channels open. So their grid lines within their bodies, their meridians, because they're not active, expansive, open, they're trying to push through and force those grid lines to become expansive, and that's what creates a lot of the dis-ease that they have when they do those type of programs.
Right. Yeah, whenever I get questions about, you know, trying ayahuasca or mushrooms, I refer to that experience, um, explaining that if you haven't developed yourself internally, you might not or want to rethink, you know, doing any of uh, those plant medicines if you know you're not sure if you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I appreciate you sharing that. Um, but my question was in regards to the practice and where you're trying to take us during the retreat, how do you see that moving us into a space where we're in a, we're better enabled to guide the rest of the world in this next phase that we're moving into?
yeah.
I know because
So
I know since you've been doing it for so long, you kind of already know how this energy is moving you and how it can better enhance us and enable us to help others.
yeah, for sure. With the activation of specific dynamics within the body mind, it gives you a very specific direction that you can take or not. You know, you may want to find a cave and go and just kind of remove yourself from the chaos of the world, you know. But if that's not your intention, then again, with the reticular activating system. So the same thing that you think in the negative, when you flip that and create the positive of
Mm,
that, it automatically manifests itself. So it
right.
begins. So, for example, you desire more abundance. So your reticular activating system has now been shifted into a different frequency where that's your reality, is the acquisition of abundance. So
Hmm.
now when you move into the world, that's what you attract because that's your
Right.
frequency. So
Right.
automatically that's what you bring to yourself. Now,
Indeed.
when you bring that to yourself, again, it's going to depend on, well, what do you want to really do with that as that reflects your mission? And that's one of
Right.
the things that we need to really deal with is what is our mission? Why are we here?
Hmm.
What are we here to do? Especially at this time. This is the most profound period on the planet, probably in the last, I'd say, 1.5 million years.
Wow, that's deep.
And I use that as a dating system because they have, discovered a nuclear, facility in Gabon and have dated that facility to 2.5 million years old. So I feel that shortly after that period, there was a fantastic shift in the reality of the timeline of that particular space and has gradually moved us up into where we are now. We have undergone like just, man, a plethora of different like ins, outs, ups, downs, expansions, contractions. You know, we've gone through it all. And so now we've arrived at this place, which is next level, preparing us for a total fifth dimensional, integration. And you can't just transfer that body of information to someone unless they have an inkling of what the importance has been historically of where we've been and what our journey has been and where we are now and what lies before us, the importance of that. So that's why it becomes everybody who's here at this time. You're not just here to party. You're not here, to just hang out, chillax. That's not why you're here. And I can definitely say that with ultimate and optimum assurity, because I know what time it is. I know what this period on the earth at this time means for humanity. So none of us are here to do anything but to self-discover and reconnect with our power and take it to the next level. That's it.
Solo,
Did I
thanks
have
for
to
the invite. I
share that?
gotta bounce,
Thank you.
man.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I appreciate you guys showing up. Excited for the retreat. I'm glad Wayne had the time to come here and, to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what to expect and how to align yourselves with it. And yeah, we're 2 months away. So join on if you're gonna join on, or peace out if we're peacing out. But yeah, I really hope you guys can all make it. I'm really excited. Costa Rica, let's evolve. Let's be invincible, because this is all an illusion anyway, and you got to have faith in something beyond what you can see. So if you don't know how the practices work, I challenge you to give yourself 30 days in it, and just to see just see the changes and the difference. Like, Wayne can't tell you what it will do for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, he can say that this scientifically is what it will do for you, but how are you going to alchemize that information? And ultimately that's between you and your higher self, your maker. So yeah.
Very well said.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Wayne, bro, Solo, great seeing you, man. Thanks for the invite. I gotta bounce. Good seeing
Yeah,
you.
man. Have a good one.
Definitely will. We'll talk soon enough.
Okay, so peace out.
See y'all.
Yeah. All right, guys. Yeah, I think that's it. No questions, no answers.
Yep.
And yeah, that's it. That's everything.
Okay, everybody keep living strong, and I hope to see you in our tropical paradise in a couple of months.
That's right.
Peace.
All right. Peace, everyone.